Israel and Palestine conflict is unique. Beginning nearly a century ago, it has many layers. Depending on who you ask, you will be given a different response and opinion varying from the next. It is a complicated issue that we need to discuss. Both Palestine and Israel are located within the Eastern Mediterranean region, bordering countries such as Egypt to its west and Jordan to its east. The location that the actual conflict and tension is taking place lies on the West Bank as well as the Gaza Strip. West Bank is located on the border of Jordan, whereas the Gaza Strip borders Egypt as well as the Mediterranean Sea. The conflict that is taking place is an ongoing intercommunal phenomenon involving political tension, military conflicts, and many disputes. Most of the conflict between these countries is taking place in an aerial manner. Israel has conducted several airstrikes this year already. Recently, on the 9th of May 2023, 13 people were killed in an airstrike in the Gaza Strip, as Israel sent hundreds of rockets over the border. The nature of this conflict has been focused more on the military side of things, although their fighting power are vastly different. Israel has a drastic advantage in terms of military size and money put into the army. Israel consists of around 165,000 active personnel with a $25 billion budget. Ranked 15 out of all countries in the world for this budget, its military is ranked 18th. In comparison to Palestine, they do not have an army, although their fighting comes from around 15,000 people within the Palestinian National Security Forces. The security forces have a budget of $1 billion. The recent spikes in conflict during 2021 were caused due to many different reasons. A partial impact came about during the holy month of Ramadan for Muslim people. In the most holy site of all, Israel, for the Muslim population, which was the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Israeli police raided the building, injuring over 50 people and arresting over 400 during prayer. The major effect of this raid sparked over a dozen missiles to be fired across the border from southern Lebanon and the Gaza Strip against Israeli targets. Israel retaliated and fired back at both. This had been followed by several other incidents in recent months, such as in January 2023, 13 people were killed in a military raid in Jenin. In February this year, a Palestinian gunman killed 2 Israeli people on the border. The major effects of this conflict have been majority on the Palestinian population and people. But why? It's because simply Israel has a much stronger army. In 2021 alone, the Israeli government had destroyed 666 Palestinian homes and many other structures and buildings, resulting in the displacement of thousands. The other major effect is the displacement of an entire Palestinian community by Israeli settlers that have forced them out of what they believe is their land. Since the beginning of the conflict, the Israelis have razed over 55,000 buildings to enforce building codes and regulations. The other major impact of this conflict lies again on the people of Palestine. Over 5.6 million Palestinian people were listed as refugees as of 2019. Refugees comprise of around 67% of the population in the Strip of Gaza, although this does not mean that the people of Israel were safe and not impacted by this. In 2022 alone, up to 20 deaths of Israeli citizens as well as an extra 200 injured. They also faced safety issues as they did not know when the next attack would happen. To understand why these recent spikes have been occurring, we need to take a look further back, around 100 years ago to the beginning of the conflict. The British had occupied and taken over this area which was previously a part of the Ottoman Empire. This land had both a strong Jewish and Arab population within, and both believed that they should get the land. During the 40s, an increasing number of Jewish were fleeing persecution due to World War II in Europe and arriving in what we know as Israel. They would become refugees in land which Palestinians thought was theirs. In 1947, the UN had voted to split Palestine into separate states depending on religion, which Israel leaders accepted and the Arab population declined. In 1948, where Jewish leaders had declared the creation of a new state known as Israel, this led to a war as most Palestinians had rejected it. Israel eventually won this war. Decades followed this without any conflict or any war until 1967, where Israel invaded Palestine. Israel was able to absorb the whole area of historic Palestine, leading to the displacement and expulsion of around 300,000 Palestinians and gained territory that was around 3.5 times its size. This was able to shift Israel's idea about themselves. Instead of a country that fought to remain a country, they became a powerhouse. The effect of this was that, according to the Warsaw Institutes, Egypt lost Sinai and the Gaza Strip, and Jordan lost the West Bank, meaning that Israel became far more powerful and over 1.4 million Palestinians who were living there became controlled by Israel. Both perspectives and groups have different views, although the same outcome and goal. Both Israel and Palestine are in desire of the same thing, which is land. It is that simple. Israel wants to occupy and use the land for themselves, although Palestine wants the land to become an independent country without the occupation of Israel, as they currently occupy around 43% of the state. As Vox, a trustworthy and reliable source, stated, the Israel-Palestine conflict is over who gets what land and how it's controlled. Zach Buchamp is an expert in this field and the author of this, making him a valid reference. There are two current solutions that are the most popular and have been devised for many years now, although neither country is satisfied with the resolution. These are the one-state solution and the two-state solution. The one-state solution, which was proposed by the President of Libya in 2003, is one that plans for both countries to form under one ruling and to be known as the Israel-Palestine state, comprising all territories of both states. The two-state solution is the most common and popular out of the two. It proposes that Israel and Palestine would both split into two independent countries. Devised in the Oslo Accords in 1993, states that both countries would gain independence. My opinion is that the two-state solution is more reasonable, although I think that there will not be a solution in the near future as neither solution corresponds to each of their demands.